the right in the UK is increasingly fracturing. Even though Reform is leading in the polls, there are some fallouts within the party that we are watching on our screens day in, day out. Just in the last few weeks, we had two new movements on the right that have been created. Advance UK Party by Ben Habib and
Yeah.
Restore Britain movement by Rupert Lowe. What do you think is happening on the center right and the right side of the political spectrum right now?
Uh, in all fairness, I don't actually know. I'm hoping that Ben and Rupert can have got kind of like something in place with what they're doing by bringing their sides together. I think obviously where you've got Reform as well, they've kind of like got their own little, they've created like their own little group kind of thing. Same with what Labour have done. They don't want any interruption or anything like that. They don't want anyone else to get involved, and they almost don't want to share it. I feel like there's big egos on every side. I feel like there's big egos, and I think everyone wants to do something, if that makes sense, but they don't want to do it underneath anybody else, if that makes sense. I think that's where we're kind of like heading down towards. Um, I do hope, I do hope the two of them can bring their ideas together. If I'm going to be honest with you,
Mm.
because at the end of the day, we're all kind of like we all want the same thing. We all want to have our country back how it once was. We want it to be run like a country. We don't want it to be run for the world. We want it for us at the end of the day, and that's just how it needs. That's how it needs to be. Otherwise, you're going to see more issues arise.
Mm. For people that are not in the UK, there is a reason why I didn't include conservatives when I was listing the people on the right hand side of the spectrum, and because most people in the UK know that they are not actually a right side party at all. They might have some economics, may policies within the economics maybe that are a little
Yeah,
bit more conservative, but they are very much center left, I would say, if you just look at them in the aggregate. Hence, I didn't really mention them. I think the critics of the right as a movement is pointing out at the fact that they can't seem to unite, they can't really get on board with an idea. Now, I'm trying to think it through in my own head whether a, like a context of ideas is better than just having one party that might be fracturing. Because I think, especially with Reform, when they first started getting the momentum within the polls, they did do some quite controversial interviews when they seemingly were going very, very soft on, the big button conversations in the UK, such as immigration. And I then thought that the creation of movements more to the right is going to basically create an environment when the best one can win, right? And when they each other can sort of tilt their own ideas to see where the public really wants them to be. And I think, because realistically speaking, the next general election, we're probably like still 4 years away from that. So in those 4 years, I think that there might be enough time for all of these parties to find the happy medium, to figure out where they actually want to be. But on the other hand, I am a little bit concerned as well about the fact that they might be just splitting the votes. And I just can't imagine having another 4 or 5 years of Labour Party in power right now, because they are just, I mean, it's bonkers what they are doing.
I
So,
I agree. I do
which one do
agree.
you think is more likely? Do you think that it will work itself out, that all of these movements are just going to be the best one to win, or is it just going to split the votes?
I think it's quite difficult to be fair because in my point of view, I've seen it that reform have got the ball rolling for more people to essentially become right. I don't I wouldn't really say right or left in all fairness. I feel like it's going to be going down to I think kind of like I wouldn't say nationalist because I feel like nationalist has got quite a negative kind of like label to it now.
Connotation, yeah.
Yeah, it has. I think it is essentially going to be between that and globalism because you've got people that don't want the borders, you've got the people that want to protect their borders. I think it's going to be the case of who can actually do what they say they're going to do and reform. Maybe reform are being smart and clever about it. Maybe they've kind of like put a hard break on the things that they were saying to get them into power so they can implement stuff. I don't know. I really don't know. Um, I think we've just got. I think obviously we have to go with what suits us best, but we can't follow a trend as well at the same time. I think that's where it
Mm.
gets dangerous because I feel like I feel like that's the thing that's happened over in America with American politics. People kind of like follow trends because there are only two parties over there essentially. You've got the Republicans and the Democrats. Over here, you've actually got quite a wide range, and I feel like it's now becoming a trend to go for certain parties. It never used to be like that. It used to be vote for the people and the party that stands most likely by you. That's how it always
Mm-hmm.
was, and it's not so much the case anymore. I don't think, especially if that's the case on the left side, especially. Do we have to do that on the right? Maybe to be smart about it, quite possibly. But I also feel like we need to stick to our guns and stick to what we actually are.
Yeah. The one good point that you've made earlier on, which probably just needs exploring a little bit, or maybe just labeling what it is that we're talking about. I think we still use the labels left and right because for such a long time it was how we used to talk about the politics. But right now it does seem to be establishment that stands for radical globalism, and anti-establishment, which really favors the nation
Yeah,
um, over international interests and essentially the interests of other nations. Is just initially, I think they used to map. So the left used to, at least a couple of years ago, the left broadly was standing for a bit more globalist ideas, and the right, the new right, started moving towards more sort of national priority side. So maybe talking about establishment and anti-establishment, or radical globalism and anti-radical globalism is going to be better. It's probably more accurate about what it is that we're talking about. It's just it's a bit of bigger mouthful to kind of get out. If you enjoy this clip and you would like to support the show, all you have to do is press subscribe. And to watch the full conversation, you can go right here. I'll see you there.